Living in Signal Mountain, Tennessee. People love Signal Mountain, and it's always one of the most desirable or top 5 places that people want to live in Chattanooga. But what is it like to actually live there? What is the cost of living there? What's the safety like, or the neighborhood feel? What does it actually mean to live on Signal Mountain, on top of the mountain? And that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. So if you're looking to move to the Chattanooga area, more specifically Signal Mountain, that's what we're going to discuss today. And I have a ton of videos on Ottawa and Hickson and Saudi, Lookout Valley, and so many other places. Make sure you check those out too. Let's get into today's video of living in Signal Mountain. So the first thing we're going to discuss is cost of living, something that everybody needs to know of how much is things where they're about to move or where they want to live. So for Signal Mountain, the cost of living here is actually 42% higher than the national average, and that's really just because of the housing prices in Signal Mountain, which we'll get to later on. But the housing prices are typically what make up most of the cost of living. So housing prices are way higher in this area, but as far as, you know, gas and groceries and that type of stuff, it's actually below the national average. So if we're looking at it as a whole, it's actually a little bit cheaper to live in this area, except for the housing prices. So the next thing I want to discuss is kind of the nature, or like what is there to do living on Signal Mountain. If you're an outdoorsy person, or you love mountain views, or you love nature or hiking or trails, this is one of the best places to live in Chattanooga, in my personal opinion. And if you go on the forums or you see other videos, it will definitely point to Signal Mountain if everything I just talked about is something that you're looking for in your backyard. A couple places that I just want to highlight. So if you're looking to come to the area and look at different houses, different places, these are some places you should definitely check out. They're a little touristy, outdoorsy type things to do. The first place is Signal Point Park. This is kind of a national park that has some Civil War historical kind of pretexts to it, and you can read all the placards and stuff around this park. But it's actually right on the edge of Signal Mountain, and you have the Tennessee River Gorge, and you can see Raccoon Mountain across the other way. It's absolutely beautiful, and this is kind of the point where you can start hiking here, and it gets to many different other lookout spots or many hikes in Signal Mountain. One of those spots that you should definitely take a look at, especially if you're going to Point Park, Edwards Point, is probably half a mile from here. It's not very far. The hike is not very treacherous. You do kind of go up and down some slopes, but it's right next to the gorge, and Edwards Point is absolutely beautiful. It's this huge rock that you have beautiful views of the valley, of the river, Raccoon Mountain, and kind of overlooking towards downtown Chattanooga. It's beautiful. If you want to go and take some pictures, or you just want to go see the sunset or sunrise, this is a great place for you to come to, especially because it's not a super strenuous walk. You can park at Signal Point Park and then just go ahead and do the little hike to get to Edwards Point. And along with the trails, there's a ton of trails all over Signal Mountain. You can even connect to the Cumberland trail system, which goes for hundreds of miles. So if you love trails, you love mountain biking, definitely a place that you should check out or consider living. Other things that Signal Mountain has to offer is Shackelford Ridge Park. This is a soccer complex. It has 4 soccer fields, has a concession stand, and obviously a place that people can go play soccer. But one of the cool things is that it's surrounded by about 3 miles worth of trails. So somewhere you can park. Maybe your kid's playing soccer and you want to run the trails, or your kid wants to run the trails and you want to play soccer. I'm into soccer, so it just depends on what you're looking for. Definitely a great thing to have on top of the mountain. Another thing that Signal has is the community pool. This pool is perfect for those hot summer days. They have swimming lessons, they have swimming lanes, and it's open to the Signal Mountain residents. Now it's open from Memorial Day until Labor Day, so it actually just opened up last weekend, as last weekend was Memorial Day, depending on when this video comes out. So it's open for the summer months, and definitely good to have on top of the mountain. Is really big. It sometimes gets kind of packed, but definitely nice to have in Signal Mountain. There's also a couple parks kind of all over the place. One of the main parks that I want to highlight is called Pumpkin Patch. Absolutely love this park. My kids love this park. We've actually had maybe 2 or 3 birthdays there for my kids over the years. It's absolutely amazing. It's this huge park, and it has these huge slides that you go down. I remember one time I was holding both my kids. I went down the really long slide, and I had to almost throw myself on the floor so I didn't keep going out because it goes down very fast. I was able to catch myself luckily and not fly with the kids. But it's a beautiful park, and it has a lot of picnic tables, so you can host, you know, little birthday parties or get-togethers with your friends friends that have kids, but my kids absolutely love it, and it's a great park to have in Signal Mountain. So if you're looking for trails, if you're looking for nature and parks and things to do outdoors and be kind of part of the community and be more an outdoorsy type of person, Signal Mountain has everything that you desire and dream of. So really quick guys, if you're looking to move to Signal Mountain or Ottawa or Saudi Daisy or downtown or anywhere in the greater Chattanooga area, feel free to reach out to me on the number on your screen. Shoot me a text, give me a call, or shoot me an email. I would love to get on a Zoom call or phone call with you so we can discuss how moving to Chattanooga will look for you, how we can make it happen. We've helped a ton of families here, and I absolutely love helping people move to the area. So if that's you and you have any questions that I don't answer in today's video, please go ahead and reach out to me. With that being said, let's get back to today's video. The next thing I want to discuss is the housing market. I kind of touched on it on cost of living, and I didn't really talk a lot about cost of living and the numbers because housing is such a big part of it. I wanted to kind of leave it over here because the median price point for a house in Signal Mountain is $677,000. Now that's way above the national average, which I believe at the making of this video is about $411,000. So about 40 to 50% more than the national average. And the median price point for Hamilton County, where Chattanooga is located, is actually $385,000. So there's a really big difference between the area's median price point and Signal Mountain. And that's just because it's a very desirable area. Like I discussed, it has so much to offer, especially outdoors, and it has this huge community that people love to be a part of and plug into. So it's an area that's growing, that's booming, that's going to be growing for a long time because it's not a huge area. So when things pop up or there's houses available, people typically tend to scoop them up. So the housing prices here tend to go up more than the average or the median in the area. Now another thing I want to discuss just briefly is like what kind of houses can you see here? More recently, there's a lot more newer construction going on the back end of Signal Mountain, more towards the Walden or even past Walden area. There's a lot of new construction because again, it's such a desirable area and it hasn't been super developed or overdeveloped over the years, but there is a lot more builders going there building really nice, really big houses on half, 1 or even 2 acre plots of land. So if you're looking for a little bit more land, you're looking for at least an acre and you have kind of that $6 to $1 million price range, this is a great option for you because you get everything else I already talked about, plus you get that really nice piece of land. But what you can find here are older charmed homes or renovated mid-century modern homes, or you can get custom built homes right on the edge of Signal Mountain with beautiful views, which that's going to be way above the median price point, but you can get everything in between there. So if everything I said appeals to you and the price point works for you, Signal Mountain should definitely be on your list of the areas you should check out when moving to Chattanooga. The next thing I want to discuss is safety. Question I get asked about no matter what area people ask about, they always want to know about safety. And of course, I have my own personal opinions on things or my experiences, but as far as safety goes, I'm going to touch on 2 websites, which is Neighborhood Scout and crimegrade.org. Everything I'm talking about here you can find on those websites, and everything I'm discussing is based off of the scores that those websites have given. So the violent crime in Signal Mountain is listed as 0 per 1,000 residents. So the violent crime is essentially 0 in the area, and the property crime is about 3.4 out of 1,000, which makes it safer than 79% of the US cities. Again, according to those 2 websites. So what that translates to is an area that feels very safe to its residents. People here probably still leave their doors open and they still have kids riding around in their neighborhoods and their bikes. I know a lot of times the residents that live up there, they send their kids to the school in the area, and I've been up there many different times when the school gets out and kids typically just get out of school, and for those that the parents don't pick up, they ride their bikes home or they walk with their friends to wherever they live. So it has this type of safety, this community feeling up in Signal Mountain. So if you're coming from a bigger city that maybe doesn't feel as safe or that's very fast paced, you're definitely going to feel the difference in the peacefulness or the slower pace and the safety that you feel here in Signal Mountain. Next thing I want to discuss is kind of your commute or the transportation that you can find here in Signal Mountain. And one of these kind of, not secret, but one of the low-key things that's great about living in Signal Mountain is the commute and how close you are to downtown. A lot of people think that, you're on Signal Mountain, it's a mountain, you drive up there, it takes forever to get up there. But actually, depending where you live in Signal Mountain, you're anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes max to downtown. And of course, that's if you work downtown. There's different places of Chattanooga, depending on, you know, if you're in healthcare, if you're an engineer, whatever your line of work is. It depends obviously where you're gonna work. But if you're just trying to live somewhere within 20 minutes to downtown, 30 minutes max, you can live anywhere in Signal Mountain and be in downtown in no time. So this is kind of a little low-key thing that's very positive about living in Signal Mountain. You have two main ways that you get up the mountain. People typically just think of one way, which is the main way kind of coming up, but there's actually a little tiny winding road that connects to Red Bank, and this is mainly for like Florida people or maybe Arizona people, or like people that live in places that are very flat, that do not have experience driving mountainous roads, especially Florida people, South Florida people. I get people that say, I checked out Signal Mountain, I went through this super windy road, and they're like, I don't want to do Signal Mountain. And I was like, no, you went through the side entrance, you need to go through the main road. They go up there, that's not a problem. And also, by the way, I'm gonna do a full map breakdown on the next video. So I'm gonna go through that little winding place, show you exactly where it is, show you pictures, show you drone shots. I might even drive up it so you can see how it feels. But there's multiple ways to get in and out of Signal Mountain. So it's very nice and convenient because you can live up on the mountain. You're kind of away in the community, not isolated, but it almost feels like its own little area of peace and safety and kind of low-key suburb feel. But you're right there next to downtown where you can get to all the restaurants, all the things to do that Chattanooga has to offer, and you're not super far away. Another thing too, please keep in mind that the public transportation is very limited if you live on the mountain, so more than likely you're gonna have to have a car to get up and down. But again, if you're living on Signal Mountain and you can afford the houses there, public transportation is not really something to rely on. If it is, if you're living, you know, with your parents, or you're just splitting a mortgage and you have a ton of friends living in one house, just know you're still gonna have to split a car because you need a car to get up and down or get to work, because the public transportation is very limited on Signal Mountain. So the next thing I want to discuss is healthcare, right? A big thing that people ask all the time too is, where are the hospitals or the closest hospital that I can find? Now, on top of the mountain, you do have some clinics or some doctor's offices and things of that nature. But if you want to get to any major hospitals, it's going to be down the mountain into downtown, and you're probably about 15 to 20 minutes away. And you have the three main hospital systems, the big main hospitals there within 20 minutes of Signal Mountain. You have Memorial Hospital, you have Erlanger Hospital, and you have Park Ridge Medical Center. All three of the main hubs are downtown. You know, they all have ERs, they have a ton of things and resources. One specializes more in heart, which I believe is Memorial. One specializes more in stroke and brain, which I believe is Erlanger, but they all do the same thing. They'll have ERs and ICUs and all that type of stuff that you need. Plus, obviously, they're gonna have all these different specialists around the hospital. So anything that you need, if you have any medical conditions, or you're worried about, you know, moving there and bringing your parents and they're a little bit more in age and they need more help, you're gonna have everything you need from about 15 to 25 minutes from Signal Mountain. So Signal Mountain isn't for everybody, but if it's for you, it is really for you. People typically move here for the views or the nature or the community or the peace that they think they're gonna find, but they really stay for the community. Because again, like I mentioned, it's a mountain, right? You're very close to downtown, but typically your kids go to school with your neighbors. You have the community pool, you have parks, you're typically seeing people, the same people everywhere you go. So you build this community, you start setting roots, and you start feeling part of something that's bigger than just you and your family. Of course, if you want to keep to yourself, absolutely, you can still do that. But typically people build a community and they have a lot of friends that they grow up together. So that's typically why people stay in Signal Mountain. I have many different friends that the parents still own the house that they were raised in, because they raised their families there, just like they did with a ton of friends up there. Now all their kids are gone to college, but they all still live up there because again, they made these deep roots into the community, and that's why they love Signal Mountain. So if everything I said appeals to you, Signal Mountain should definitely be on your list of places to check out. If the price point, the lifestyle, the vibe, the things of, you know, the quietness of it, the proximity to downtown, but still being a little bit away to where you get a little bit more peace and quiet appeal to you, check out Signal Mountain. And if you want more information, feel free to reach out to us on the number on your screen. We can help you move to Signal Mountain. We can check out houses for you. I have local guides that I give everybody that reaches out to me. So whether it's Signal Mountain or Hickson or Ottawa or any other place, if you're considering these places, I can definitely give you my local guides, and it can help you kind of explore different areas and give you some landmarks or some neighborhoods for you to check out. I love helping people move here, and I hope to help you as well. So with that being said, until next time, take care and God bless.